important. So now we have initial positions of all particles, but we do not know, at least the program which is going to simulate does not know how these particles are connected and how they interact with each other. The topology file, in this case called ethanol.top, describes how each particle interacts with every other particle and how these particles are connected to each other. Okay, I will go through each of these components now. So every line that starts with a semicolon is a comment. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. When your simulation program will read this file, it will not look at these comments. Okay, then there is something called defaults. This also we will talk a little bit later. So don't worry about it now. Then there is atom types. Now, although ethanol has 9 atoms, the atom types are somewhat similar. So if you look at the structure of ethanol, it is CH3, CH2, OH. So in the CH3 group, all the hydrogens are the same atom type. Although they are different atoms, the atom type is similar. When I say atom type is similar, they will have the same mass, they will have the same partial charge, and they will have similar sigma and epsilon, Lennard-Jones parameters. So for ethanol, you have 5 different types of atoms. The first one here is called C3, which is a aliphatic carbon atom bonded to 3 hydrogen atoms. Here you can see that the mass and charge are set to 0. Don't worry about that. We are going to give them the correct mass and charge a little bit later. Don't worry about p type. Then you have sigma and epsilon. Okay. In GROMACS, the units of energy are kilojoules per mole, and the units of distance are nanometers. So for this carbon, which is an aliphatic carbon linked to 3 hydrogen atoms, we have described the sigma and epsilon. Similarly, hydrogen atom attached to a carbon atom has a certain sigma and epsilon. Then you have a different hydrogen atom here, which is called H1. These are hydrogen atoms attached to the CH2 group. And finally, you have the OH group, which contains an oxygen atom and a different hydrogen atom. Now note that this hydrogen atom here, which is attached to the oxygen, will have properties which are slightly different to the hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon atom, because this hydrogen atom attached to the hydroxyl group is expected to be able to hydrogen bond. We all know that. But of course, a carbon atom attached to a aliphatic group such as CH3 is not expected to hydrogen bond. All right. After this, atom types. Now we have to calculate interactions between atom types, right? And we'll come back to that. Then you have connectivity. This is all commented out, so this is optional. So here we are saying that atom number 1 is the carbon atom, and then 2, 3, and 4 are hydrogen atoms. Atom 5 is carbon, and so on and so forth. So this is just optional. We can do this for a small molecule like ethanol, but we cannot do it for a large protein. Okay. Then we tell GROMACS, in this case your simulation program, what is the molecule we are looking at. In this case, we are looking at ethanol. This could be any name. You can type your name here. It does not matter at all. It is just a name. And then there is something called number of exclusions. And this also we will talk about a little bit later. Okay, we don't need to worry about it now. Are there any questions so far? No. Okay. Now we are listing all the atoms in the system. Ethanol has 9 atoms. So the first column is the number of atom. The second column is the atom type. Now you can note here that atom number 1 and 5 are similar. These are aliphatic carbon atoms. So they have the same atom type, C3 and C3. Similarly, atoms 2, 3, and 4 are hydrogen atoms attached to this carbon, and they have the same atom type, Hc, Hc, Hc. But they have a different atom name, as you can see in the 5th column here. Are you following my mouse? Can you see my mouse? Yeah?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. The third column is residue number. In this case, you have only one molecule ethanol. So there is only one residue number. The fourth column is the name of the residue. We call it mol. You can call it whatever you want as long as you're consistent. Then you have atom names. Then you have something called charge number. This is not important. This is from older version of GROMACS. These are not required at all. You can forget about them. The next column is charge. So for each atom in this molecule, we assign a partial charge based on quantum mechanical calculations. So you can take ethanol and you can calculate the partial charge of each atom. And then you have to run some calculations of ethanol in water to make sure you get the properties of ethanol correct, such as its density and its heat of vaporization and so on. Also its free energies of hydration and so on. You don't have to worry about that. But this column gives you the partial charge of each atom. You can notice that the partial charge of these three hydrogen atoms, which are very similar, attached to the carbon, is the same. But the partial charge of this hydrogen atom, which is attached, which is part of the OH group, hydroxyl group, is very high. It is 0.4 compared to almost 0 for these three hydrogen atoms. Okay. We are also describing the mass in the last column. So now we have a list of atoms. We know their partial charges and we know their epsilons and sigmas. So the program should be able to calculate both Lennard-Jones interactions and van der Waals interactions. Is this okay? Any questions? Yeah, Runa.
Yeah. Two questions.
Yes.
How many atoms can we use in this, and where do we get the numbers except just writing them in ourselves? Where can we get, if you have?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. So in this case, I have given you this information already. Okay. If you have a large protein, then to generate this information, all you need is the structure of the protein, of the PDB file that I showed you earlier. These have a standard format, right? So the atom names and atom times are very standard. And then your simulation program, in this case, we will use GROMACS, will be able to read this PDB file. And then it will be able to produce this sort of topology file, because it already has all the information. Okay, that atom C3 of ethanol is supposed to have a charge of this much. So this is available for standard molecules like proteins, lipids, DNA, ethanol, standard organic solvents, and so on. But if you have a new type of drug that nobody has ever seen before or nobody has simulated before, then you have to run some quantum calculations in order to get these numbers. Okay, does that answer your first question?
Yes.
Okay, you will do this in the next tutorial when you simulate a protein. Okay, the second question.
I kind of forgot it, so not so important.
No. Anybody else? Do you have any questions? This is the time to ask.
No. The values for the other age group, if you scroll up.
Yes. This one you mean?
The sigma and epsilon was just put to 0. Yes. That looked a bit weird.
Yeah, that looks a bit weird to me too. But remember, this is a hydrogen atom. And sometimes hydrogen atoms are treated a bit differently. I am myself not entirely sure why these two values are 0 here, but I will look them up and I'll get back to you. I only noticed this today when I was talking to you. Okay. What this essentially means is that this hydrogen atom will not have any van der Waals interaction with anything else. Correct? Why this is the case, I don't know. I will come back to that. Any other questions? And I should write that down or I'll forget. Okay. So now we are done with the calculation of electrostatics and van der Waals interactions. Now, The PDB file that you had only had a list of atoms. It didn't tell you which atoms were connected to which other atoms. So then we come to the section called bonds, which describe all the bonds. So the first line here says that atom number 1 is connected to atom number 2 with a function of type 1. Now bonded interactions can be described by various potentials. Here it's a simple harmonic spring. The function type 1 means a harmonic spring. The bond length is 0.109 nanometer. So that's 1.09 angstroms. And the spring constant is this much. Okay. And similarly, we describe all the bonds in the system. Again, in this case, I'm providing this to you. In most other cases, this file can be automatically built. You don't have to do it manually. Okay, then we come to a section called pairs. And this also brings us to the number of exclusions. Let's look at this image here. Can you see this construct here on the top where my mouse is? This is a schematic of the molecule. Now, if you look at atom number 1 and 9, and then you look at atom numbers 2 and 6, you will notice that both these pair of atoms are separated by 3 bonds. 1 bond, 2 bond, 3 bonds. In the case of 2 and 6, 1 bond, 2 bond, 3 bond. So what is listed here, down here, are all the pairs of atoms that are separated by 3 bonds. These are called 1,4 pairs. Can anybody take a guess on why this is necessary? It has to do with the calculation of non-bonded interactions. So typically in simulations, we calculate van der Waals and electrostatic interactions for only those pairs of atoms which are more than 3 bonds apart. In principle, particle 7, atom 7 and atom 8 should have an electrostatic interaction between them, right? Because they are both charged. But this is going to interfere with the bonded potentials, which also take into account these electrostatic interactions to some degree. Therefore, we say that we are only going to calculate electrostatic and van der Waals interactions for those pairs of particles which are more than 3 bonds apart. For example, atom number 3 and atom number 6, or atom number 2 and atom number 9. However, for these pairs which are 3 bonds apart, such as 1, 9, 2, 6 and 2, 7, sometimes we need to scale the van der Waals and electrostatic interactions. And if we have to scale them, and this is a long history, we will not go in. This is mainly empirical. So you run a simulation and you see, okay, the data that I'm calculating are not accurate. So I will try to scale my van der Waals interactions. And you keep doing that until you reach a consensus saying that, okay, I'm using 1,4, the 1,4 pairs that I have listed here. For these, I will scale my Lennard-Jones and van der Waals interactions. And how I scale them is right here. Okay, so don't worry about non-bonded function. That's Lennard-Jones. This is a combination rule 2. This is how you combine sigmas and epsilons. And this is generate pairs. These are the pairs that were automatically generated. And this is the fudge factor. So the Lennard-Jones interactions of 1,4 pairs are fudged by a factor of 0.5. And the electrostatics are fudged by a factor of 0.833. This is purely empirical in nature. There is no logic behind this. Okay. Okay, now we have covered every part of this topology file up to here. Are there any questions so far? Good. So after bonds, which are listed here, Then we also list angles. So atom numbers 1, 5, and 6 have an angle of so many degrees between them, and this is the harmonic constant. So there's something wrong in the topology file. These are described twice for some reason that I don't know, but GROMACS will take care of it. Don't worry about it. And finally, you have dihedral angles, which are essentially a periodic, described by a periodic function, looking like the potential equals something multiplied by C1 cos theta plus C2 cos 2 theta plus C3 cos 3 theta and so on. The functional form is not important. You don't even need to understand everything here. What you need to know is that each dihedral angle has 4 atoms. That's how you describe a dihedral angle. And then these are the coefficients to each cosine. So in this case, you have 6 cosines: cos theta, cos 2 theta, cos 3 theta, cos 4 theta, cos 5 theta, and cos 6 theta. The last 2 are set to 0 and so on. So now the program knows how to calculate bonded and non-bonded interactions. Okay. And the last line of this topology tells you how many of these molecules we are going to simulate. In this case, it's only going to be 1.